Hello and welcome everyone to another video. Now today I'll be having a look at all the books that I've read this month and a few books that I hauled. Now I did go a bit over my normal sort of amount of books that I buy in a month, and I did buy 2 mangas, fantasy and 3 cultural books and 2 children's books since I am a mother. So I'll get in with the books that I've read this month, and let's start off with Yellowface. Now I began this month with Yellowface because I was having a bit of a reading slump and a lot of people said a lot of good things about this book. Now it follows a character who witnesses a death of a very sort of famous and popular author who has Asian heritage. Now then, after the whole death scene, we have the character looking through sort of manuscripts and everything else, and she finds a few ideas that she basically steals and brands as her own. Now if you are interested in publishing, in the writing processes and the people involved in this sort of business, I do recommend you give Yellowface a good read. Right, the next book on my list that I've read was Abroad in Japan by Chris Broad. Now, I really enjoyed this book. I am someone who is fascinated by Japanese culture. I do enjoy reading about people's personal experiences in the world, especially when they travel to a country that has sort of is the other way around when it comes down to culture, and the way that you sort of adjust, and this sort of beautiful experience of, you know, living in another culture and being surrounded by it. You meet a lot of colourful characters and it's an absolutely beautiful book, easy to read. I managed to read in a couple of hours and I really recommend it for anyone who's looking to sort of take an adventure from home and explore Japan in a more remote sense, and yeah, see how Chris managed to sort of maneuver his early career as a teacher in Japan. I'm sure some of you have heard of him already because he is quite popular on YouTube. The next 2 books on my list to read were Ruthless Vows and, well, Divine Rivals is the first book by Rebecca Ross. Cute cover, and Ruthless Vows. I absolutely loved both of these books. I will say that the first book is definitely a bit better than the second book. However, this series has to be one of my favorites. Now I know this is sort of marketed as a young adult sort of books, but I did find even as an adult I really enjoyed the story. You follow these 2 characters that sort of write letters to one another, falling in love with each other. They sort of become inseparable, but they were forced to separate. And you know what, I'm not going to spoil the ending or anything, but it's actually quite heartbreaking if I'm honest. It's like, how would you put it? It's not anticlimactic, the ending. There's a lot happening, but at the same time, it's sort of, you have bits that are very happy and bits that are very depressing. It's all to do with war. It's all to do with sort of forbidden love, and it's really sweet. It's a really good read for anyone who is in a reading slump. I've managed to read both of these books in 24 hours. I am quite a slow reader, I'll say this now, because I know some people have read these books quite like in a space of 2 hours, but yeah, I am quite slow and I do have a child to take care of. So I really recommend, if you're sort of short on time, do pick up Divine Rivals. You might actually enjoy a love story, especially if you're sort of into World War II or anything else, sort of, you know, historical fiction. Although it's completely like fantasy, but it is quite nice and refreshing to read. Now, one of the other books that I decided to read and get through was Folk Witchcraft by Roger F. Horn. Now, I've seen quite a few YouTubers talk about this book, and I don't have that much to say. I'm pretty new to sort of folk magic. What this book does really is sort of talk you through the way of sort of thinking and processing thoughts It has a lot of sort of useful links to sort of other practices of folk magic. It's a good book to start off with. Sorry if my camera's going a bit mental and wild there. This is quite a good book to read if you're completely new to sort of witchcraft, and this is the area of sort of, you know, witchcraft that you want to specialize in. So I do recommend this for that sort of purpose. Right, I do apologize for my battery not working. Even though I charged it, seems to be drained quite quickly. Now, make of that what you will. Some people say that if you do live in a haunted home or have spirits around you, they tend to cling on to batteries. That aside, going back to Folk Witchcraft by Roger F. Horn. So yeah, overall, I did enjoy it. It is a quite good book for those of you who are just starting out in witchcraft and don't know much about it, and you want to go into folk witchcraft than anything else really. It has quite a few interesting rites and sort of goes into like spirit work when I look through it briefly. But yeah, it's actually a good book. It's not bad. Did I need it as a person who has a lot of experience? Yeah, because even though I do have a lot of years in witchcraft behind me, I did sort of learn a few new things and was quite inspired. The writing itself is quite easy, simple to follow. It feels like Roger F. Horn is sort of narrating it to you, and like the way it's written, it just feels like having someone sitting next to you, like in your head, talking you through things. So yeah, I do recommend for those of you who are new to folk witchcraft or just to witchcraft in general to really pick this book up. It is quite good, and yeah, I don't see anything bad with it, because I know a few people did say, oh, you know, it's sort of pointless to read, blah blah blah. My personal take is this book is good. Pick it up if you want to find out more about folk witchcraft, or if you're a complete beginner. Right, let's get into something that I'm currently actually reading, and I did order the second book for it already. I can't even pronounce Iron Flame. Right, so Fourth Wing is the first book by Rebecca Yarros. Well, it's not her first book, but it's the first book in the series, and it follows this kind of weak girl that's quite petite, and she wants to, well, she doesn't want to, she wants to be a scribe, but she is forced to become a rider. And it sort of follows her journey. I am halfway through it, and I'm really enjoying it. I really like the world of sort of dragons, of sort of mysteries and sort of magic. It's beautifully written. Now, I say I'm not a fan of fantasy, but here I am kind of talking about fantasy books, and I must say I do enjoy fantasy, because every single fantasy book that seems to be like on social media or recommended, I am the person who literally buys it and ends up loving it. Yeah, I do recommend you pick up Fourth Wing if you are looking for an adventure this spring, and if you love dragons, if you love fantasy. Now, this book I think is aimed more at adults, but I think you can even read it as a young adult, because it doesn't, so far halfway through the book, I haven't gone into any sort of X-rated scenes. So yeah, definitely worth to pick up if you like fantasy, or if you're just looking for something new to read and sort of lose yourself in it. It's also quite a quick read. I was intimidated by this book size because it's, let's have a look. Because if you don't consider acknowledgements, it's literally 49, I wanted to say pages long. It's 498 pages long. It is a long read, but it's a quick one. So yeah, that's the one I'm reading at the moment. Now, the books that I have bought on Kindle, one of them is The Lost Bookshop. Now, I don't know much about it. I just really liked the cover of it, and it was only a few pounds, so I was like, you know what, I will treat myself and my Kindle and actually use the thing, because I went through a little patch where I didn't really read or look at anything. The second book, which I bought on Kindle, is something that I wanted to read for a long time, and it's called Our Cursed Love by Julie. Is it Julie Abe? Yes, it is Julie Abe. There we go. Again, this is, I think, based in Japan itself. Yeah, you see sort of if I'm not mistaken, Mount Fuji in the background. But yeah, I'm looking for something romantic to read, to lose myself, and yeah, really looking forward to that. So now let's get into my haul. The first haul book that I bought this month was The Sparkly Lion Boy. Now this is a manga series and it's released by Tokyo Pop, and it's in German. I couldn't find the English book, but it's in German. Now I collect this The Sparkly Lion Boy manga in German because that's a language that I was learning whilst living in Germany for a couple of years, and I found that reading books that have lots of pictures in it, so basically your manga books, sort of speed up your journey of learning any sort of foreign language. So if you are trying to learn a foreign language, I do recommend you having a look into manga, because although how would you put it, some people make fun of you and everything else, I think it's quite useful because you sort of learn the way things are said or sort of being spoken. You see the way characters are reacting, and you can guess what some of the words are, especially if you're struggling with it. Right, the second manga book that I bought was Kami-sama Kiss, and this is the 17th version because that's how far I am with this collection. All the 16 books that I have are in German, but the 17, I couldn't find the German edition that I could order into UK, so I had to buy the English version. So I'll see how the story sort of compares. It already looks different because all of my books are released by Tokyo Pop, so it's already going to be a bit mismatched. But that doesn't bother me. I'm really looking forward to moving on with the story because I didn't buy any Kami-sama Kiss manga books for at least 3 years now. So yeah, really looking forward to it. Right, so one of the fiction books that I bought, or fantasy books, is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. Now lots of people have loved it and rated this book quite highly. I didn't even read the blur. But yeah, I'll leave it for another day, and I will start probably reading once I'm done with Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, if I'm not mistaken. That's what the second book's called, by Rebecca Yarros, the one that I'm reading at the moment. But yeah, I will be getting into Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater, probably when I'm done with a couple more books. So yeah, the other book that I was recommended to read was Haggitude by Sharon Blackie. Yeah, Sharon Blackie. But yeah, it goes through the sort of, you know, the second part of your life, the sort of growing up, maturing as a human being, as a woman. And it really interested me because I was looking through reviews on Amazon, and people were saying it doesn't matter how old you are, as a woman you should read this book and consider reading it, because there's a lot that we can learn from, and the way that we view ourselves maturing as years go on. So even though I'm not 30 yet, I still purchased this book, and my mum was like, isn't this book for old ladies? I was like, Mum, I think this book is for every woman. And I'm really looking forward to getting into it and seeing what lessons I can learn as a person. So, lovely book. Right, the next books that I'll have a quick look into, because I have a little son, is my first Moomin, Goodnight Moomin sort of book. And then you have Best Friends. Now, I used to be obsessed about Moomins when I was growing up. They used to be always on the TV and I loved watching them. And these sort of illustrations are really sweet and cute. And I find that a lot of like children's books are quite overwhelming visually, especially if you have someone who is, let's say, under 6 months and their sort of vision hasn't sort of developed fully yet. I think it takes up to 5 years to sort of develop the same vision that we have as grown-ups. But yeah, the illustrations are really sweet. They're quite simple. it's not too wordy, which I really like, because some stories are really wordy and my toddler hasn't got the patience. He just wants to see the next page. So I do recommend picking up the Moomin stories. They're really sweet. These are the first 2 books that I bought, but we already had a little look with my son and he absolutely loves it. Right, the next 3 books are in a different language as well. They're in Lithuanian. Now, I'm not too great with Lithuanian, but one side of my family speaks it, and I am sort of aware how to sort of read it and speak it. And I won't say I'm fluent at it, but I am somewhat a slow reader when it comes down to a foreign language. So the first book that I picked up was Laumakioraganus. I'm sorry if I'm butchering this, but yeah, I ordered them online and it came. I haven't read them, but looking at the back, it goes through sort of witchcraft, symbolism, tradition in sort of pagan Lithuanian, Livonian, Latvian or Estonian, in the sort of Baltic traditions and the sort of things they traditionally revolve around. So I'm really interested to see how it goes. The next book I bought is Lietuvių šventės, Tradicijos papročiai apeigos by Pranė Dundulienė. Now, this is quite an older book. The print is fairly new, but I think this book was published a while ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, quite a while if I'm not mistaken. And it goes through your like sort of traditions that people uphold in the area, the way that they sort of celebrate different things, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to connecting with it. My grandma that passed away recently was Lithuanian, and it's something that I want to sort of connect even more and know about where she comes from, where I sort of come from, and my own background. So this is more about like self-discovery, if anything. And then it's the same author, and it's Pranė Dundulienė, Pagonybė Lietuvoj, Moteriškosios dievybės. Now this book is by the same author, and it basically goes through the more feminine worship of the goddess and like the feminine goddesses, you can call it, in old Baltic tribes and Lithuania, and how they basically evolved into modern day religion. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. And then it's the same author, just different book. It's Senovės lietuvių mitologija ir religija. Now this particular book is by the same author as I said before, and it goes into your mythology side, old tales, and just sort of meeting new characters and, you know, religious symbolism of Lithuania. Now I think there's a lot for me to learn. These are quite simple books. They don't have many pictures. Oh, you have the 3 sort of gods and everything. Oh, you know what? I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to these books as well. But yeah, we just passed February, and I know that in Lithuania people celebrate, what's the thingy called? Užgavėnės, where you sort of party around, get winter out, and you eat sort of, it's like pancake day, you know, or like Mardi Gras, but it's just a bit different. People dress up in all sorts of different weird and sort of spooky costumes, and just sort of celebrate. That's quite actually a old man. Someone's, yeah, you can dress as an old man. It's a quite creepy mask. But yeah, people dress up in different ways to sort of scare winter away and bring in the good weather. So I'm really looking forward to finding out more about my own background and furthering my sort of language skills and understanding. And on this note, I would like to thank you very much for watching me, for tuning in, and I do apologize if I was rambling during this video, but I really do hope that you enjoyed yourself, you found something new to read, or your interests have been piqued. And yeah, have a lovely day wherever you are. Take good care of yourself, and most of all, I will see you very soon. Thank you very much.